Quebec, putting the headquarters of the new Defense, Security and Resilience Bank headquarters in Toronto. The province saying the city's financial sector, global connections combined with Ontario's defense manufacturing base make it a strong contender. Ontario Finance Minister Peter Bethlenfalvy.
Around the globe, defense and security are rising. The world finds itself in the midst of a changing international order. New geopolitical risks are reshaping. International allies worldwide see that they are looking for solutions to these rising challenges. And so we stand united here today as one Team Ontario, one proud Team Ontario, as one proud Team Canada. Folks, we are ready to lead.
The Defense Bank would finance NATO member defense projects, providing long-term loans and streamlining procurement. The bid is supported by various business and government leaders, but still requires federal approval before it's presented to allied nations. Meanwhile, members of the Ontario Public Service Employees Union rallied alongside Labour and community allies today as they headed into mediation at the Ontario Labour Relations Board to challenge the provincial government's return to office mandate. OPSEU President JP Hornick.
In the 21st century, technology has given us the ability to change what work looks like so that people can work from home. They can balance expenses like childcare, elder care. It's made it more accessible for folks with differing abilities. It means that people are able to bring their whole selves into work.
Now, workers claim the mandate is a violation of the Ontario Labour Relations Act and came after the union served a notice to bargain breaching the statutory freeze provision, which prohibits employers from making unilateral changes to working conditions once bargaining has started. Now, last year, Ontario Premier Doug Ford ordered provincial government employees to return to work at the office 5 days per week, which officially took hold at the start of this month. At the time, Ford said it would increase workers' productivity and support small businesses that relied on downtown foot traffic. And finally, tonight, the Toronto Maple Leafs will play their most anticipated game of the season. Former Leafs superstar Mitch Marner makes his return to Scotiabank Arena for the first time since signing with the Las Vegas Golden Knights last summer. It is the hottest ticket in town, and Greg Ross brings us the details.
For 9 seasons, Mitch Marner was a fan favorite in Toronto. It's the city he grew up in, and the Leafs are the team he cheered for as a kid. Tonight, for the first time in his NHL career, he enters Scotiabank Arena as a member of the visiting team. He expects it's going to be a little strange.
Just walking on the other side of things, on the other side of the locker rooms and stuff like that. I'm sure once kind of more of this is over and Anthem starts going.
No markups on groceries at select retailers. That means no markups on chips, no markups on dips, and no markups on the paper towels to clean up said dips. It's like you're right there at the shelf, except the shelf is on your phone, and you don't have to carry anything. Okay, so it's really the prices that make you feel like you're there. Download the Instacart app and get no markups at select retailers. Fees and in-store offer exclusions apply.
Megan Rapinoe here. This week on A Touch More, figure skating legend Tara Lipinski joins us to talk about the upcoming Winter Olympics, whether this will be the comeback year for U.S. women's figure skating, and what she learned about herself after appearing on the reality show The Cheaters. Plus, we're talking about the NWSL's high-impact player rule, aka the Rodman rule, and why the Players Union is against it. Check out the latest episode of A Touch More wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Heated Rivalry is a massive hit. Everyone's talking about the sex, but it's just as much about the exquisite pain of having a crush.
And I think yearning can provide this sort of like masochistic joy too. And like, we all need more joy in our lives right now.
This week on Explain It to Me from Vox, love hurts. And it hurts so good. New episodes Sundays wherever you get your podcasts.
When I was a kid, I remember hearing about Yellowstone. I remember hearing that it was that it had a big volcanic system with lots of geysers. And now I'm hearing this really scary story about it. A story that Mike Poland, the scientist at Yellowstone Volcano Observatory, basically knows.
I've heard that Yellowstone has had incomprehensibly big eruptions.
Yes.
And this is true. You may also have heard that Yellowstone is brewing and stirring away, and one day is going to have another one of these eruptions, and we don't know when. It could be tomorrow, and if it does that, then it could mean the end of the human race. I may be pushing things a little far. I hear that a lot. And these things just aren't true.
I'll be honest, this was news to me. I called up Mike to ask him, what's the deal with Yellowstone? Right? Like, will there be an eruption any day? Why don't we know? Etc. And instead, he told there is a lot that we don't know about predicting volcanoes. Like, we wound up doing a whole episode on just that subject. But when it comes to Yellowstone specifically and eruptions in the near future, scientists like Mike have a lot of confidence.
You can look at what's happening beneath the surface and understand whether or not we're brewing, we're getting ready for an eruption. And we know that's not the case at Yellowstone. So Yellowstone is not a threat in terms of volcanic activity in the immediate future.
So, this is Unexplainable. I'm Bert Pinkerton. And today on the show, why Mike is so confident that, at least in this one respect, the Yellowstone system is pretty explainable. But also, Mike will tell us some mysteries about Yellowstone that he would like to solve. So if it's not true that Yellowstone is going to erupt imminently or it could erupt at any time, where did that idea come from in the first place?
So the discovery of Yellowstone as a really, really massive volcanic system was really kind of late 50s, early 60s, when geologists started looking at the region and understanding the rocks that were there. It had been known to be a volcanic region for a long time. Then geologists started to identify the rocks, started to become more familiar with the rocks in the area, and realized that some of the rocks they were seeing weren't lava flows. It was compressed ash. Mm-hmm. And all of this started to sort of come together as a story, that Yellowstone has had some really, really big eruptions. The ash was so thick that it welded itself together. It became incredibly dense, and it would have swept across the landscape for, who knows, 100 miles, something like that, from its source, just sort of sweeping the area clean. These were really, really big eruptions that also would have had an impact on climate, because they would have put a tremendous amount of ash into the atmosphere that would have reflected sunlight and caused some cooling. Mm-hmm. And so that's a fantastic story. Will that happen again one day? Maybe. It's hard to tell. And if it does happen in the future, none of us that are on Earth now are going to be around to be able to know whether or not it happened, right? So in some ways, I find it kind of a funny question.
Mike told me there are a couple things that make him so confident here. One is just looking at Yellowstone's geological record.
This is not something that's going off all the time. You walk into the Yellowstone landscape, and it doesn't look like Hawaii, where there's nothing growing because these lava flows are so recent. Right? Clearly, the stuff that had come out was relatively old. That doesn't mean it's inactive. It doesn't mean it won't happen again at some point in the future. It will have episodes of lava flows that may occur, but the last one of those was set.
C'est évident, grimper un building où tu n'as pas l'accessibilité normalement, parce que c'est interdit, donc ils vont pouvoir le faire de façon sécuritaire.
8.9 per liter. Still to come, Brent Cater standing by. He has traffic and weather next.
There's nothing worse than your furnace taking a long winter's nap. Stay warm with a free furnace checkup from Enercare, available to homes in Kitchener, Waterloo. That's a $99 value. Our experts can fix your furnace.
Emily endorsement. If she's looking for other recommendations, I hear the Early On at Maine and Gerard is a good place to go if she wants to provide some entertainment for some 1-year-olds.
Maybe some childcare for you, it sounds like. Yeah.
What just happened?
Yeah, no, it's always so funny when people get so defensive over their recommendations when it comes to food offerings. Like, you must try this place, or this is definitively the best pizza in town. So it's been fun to watch some of the debate play out online with this post. We'd love to hear, if you are listening to this and you're
episodes of lava flows that may occur, but the last one of those was 70,000 years ago. It can have really massive explosions. Maybe once every million years, maybe slightly less than that. But it is clear that this system was not just constantly going off all the time, but there were long pauses between eruptions. So we appear to be in one of those periods of quiet, not in the middle of these episodes of volcanism.
And the geological record also holds clues to help us understand when we might need to start worrying. So, for example, if you look at old lava from Yellowstone, it's apparently full of tiny crystals. Those crystals grew back when the lava was magma, so inside the earth. And they grew in layers. You can think of them almost like tree ring layers. And just like tree ring layers can tell you so.
Ho 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 homies, it is almost Christmas. Okay, Happy New Year pharmacy people. We're back here with another episode of Pharmacy Unplugged, ready to take your practice to the next level. I hope you guys are ready because we got some also super important, I think. We're talking about something that affects your workflow, your stress levels, even possibly patient safety the next level. And since it's back to school, what better therapeutic topic to cover than one that's pretty relevant for students? And we're talking about ADHD today, attention deficit hyperactive disorder, so make sure you stay tuned until the end. As we always do before we begin, we want to thank you guys for tuning into our show wherever you're tuning in from. Thanks for listening to our show. Make sure you guys support us by following us on Spotify. We have all our previous episodes there. You can find some of the episodes that might interest you and you can listen to them and let us know what you guys think, whether you agree or disagree with some of the stuff that we said. Or if you have any questions or comments, or just to say hi, we love interacting with you guys. So you can connect with us on social media channels. We're on X. The handle is @PharmUnplugged. We're also on Reddit as well. You can also send us an email if you want to reach us. You can find all the information on our website, pharmacyunplugged.com. And as mentioned in the last episode, if you guys go to the website, you can send us an anonymous message now, right? So just type in the message and hit send. It will come to us in the inbox. It will not ask you for your name. So
right. If you also want to just send up an email straight up, our email is pharmacyunplugged@gmail.com.
That's right.
Right. How's it going? It's been a while.
I mean, it's okay. September, right? So how was your week actually?
Yeah, September. It just got cold all of a sudden, felt like.
I know. And I remember I was just saying that summer might never begin, right? That was like 3 months ago. Now summer's ending. Unbelievable.
Seems like it just happens every year. It's like the end of August, like Labor Day weekend.
And
like right after that, yeah, you feel the cold.
I know. Summer is not long enough here.
No.
At least not where we are, I think.
You got like what, 2.5 months? 3 months?
2.5 months, and then maybe
3
like 3 weeks of extreme heat, and then that's it, pretty much, right? So
That's just
why
cold.
I really I never really complained about the heat. When everybody was like complaining, I was like, it's okay. Winter's coming fast.
Just enjoy it.
While you can. Enjoy it while it lasts. That's right. My least favorite time of the year as well, because it's back to school. So that means I'm back to driving with all these people. That's right, stuck in traffic all the time.
Yeah, so much traffic.
Parents driving kids to
construction.
construction, school buses everywhere. The only thing missing is snow, which hopefully does not come soon. Exactly. So, yeah, how have you been in the past 2 weeks? I feel like I haven't talked to you in a long time.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, work's been pretty busy.
Has it? September
I,
usually is not as busy, no? I thought October is when it starts to get busy.
Yeah,
I guess you
just-
got.
What team's gonna play? I know what team I want to play. It better be the Seahawks. That's all I
You know what? I'm from LA, so I'm sorry, Eddie, but I'm gonna have to say Rams house.
You know what's crazy? Some dude came up my fault. Some dude came up
So
to me at the
excited.
gym today
Yeah.
and was like, "Yo, I saw Rap Life Review. I'm sorry to hear you're a Seahawks fan." He goes, "Go Rams!" I'm like, "Get your ass out of here!"
You see?
Like tree ring layers. And just like tree ring layers can tell you stuff about bygone weather or bygone water levels, the layers on these volcanic crystals record moments of intense heat down in the magma chamber, for example.
So we can use the crystals as a clue of what the magma chamber might have looked like through time. And what we generally see is that there is some sort of like thermal event, like a heating event prior to eruptions. Makes sense, right?
Right, like it would make sense that you'd be like, oh, right before there was an eruption, things got hot.
Yeah, things got kicked up, things got jump started.
And apparently, volcanologists can monitor a system like Yellowstone to see if that's happening currently, to see if heat is coming in to jumpstart an eruption in this way.
You can basically do something that's akin to like taking an MRI of the Earth. You can do that with magnetics and gravity. The most common way to do it is seismic waves. So as seismic waves pass through the Earth, if they encounter something hot and maybe partially molten, they're going to slow down.
Okay.
And if they hit something really solid and cold, they're going to speed up. And we can measure the travel times of seismic waves as they pass through the subsurface, and we can put a map together of how fast things are moving through the subsurface.
When they peer down under Yellowstone, they can see that it's definitely hot down there, but not so hot that they anticipate a super volcanic eruption. Essentially, it's not melted enough.
Imagine a lava cake that is like, I don't know, 10 years old. And, you know, a lot of that chocolate just is not flowing anymore. There might be some pieces that are still, you know, maybe not 10 years old. Maybe 10 is a bit much, but
Maybe it's a week old cake.
maybe it's a week.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's No Face.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Watermelon Sugar High. It's gonna be a short episode, this one. Actually, this episode is really just gonna make explaining to y'all why I've been a little off the rails lately. I know it's been a while since I dropped the episode, and I did tell you guys in the last episode that Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Watermelon Sugar High. I am your host. Let's just call me No Face right now. I don't have an identity for this podcast as of yet, but as our journey continues, as we take this journey, when I say we, I mean we take it with me. I believe our personality will
to put sick people.
We don't have enough primary care physicians providing primary care in the community. And now they're on our doorsteps and now they're sicker.
Stresses in the ER on White Coat Black Art with Dr. Brian Goldman. Tomorrow afternoon at 1:30, 2 in Newfoundland, 3:30 Pacific, and on demand on CBC Listen.
I'm Anandram. After a decade on the run, wanted for murder and drug trafficking, Canadian Ryan Wedding is now in U.S. custody. But questions still remain about how one of the FBI's most wanted suspects got caught. We'll bring you the latest coming up on Your World tonight at 6:30 in Newfoundland on CBC Radio 1.
From CBC News, The World This Hour, I'm Kate McGilfrey.
He went from an Olympic snowboarder to the largest narco trafficker in modern time.
And now, Ryan Wedding is in custody. FBI Director Kash Patel says the Canadian fugitive was arrested last night in Mexico City after more than 10 years on the run from authorities. Wedding's accused of trafficking massive amounts of cocaine through North America and orchestrating multiple murders. Last year, the FBI put out a $15 million reward for information leading to his arrest. Patel says locating Wedding was a joint effort with Mexican and Canadian law enforcement.
When you go after a guy like Ryan Wedding, it takes a united front, and that's what you're seeing here. You're seeing global partnerships from coast to coast.
Wedding's expected to make his first court appearance Monday. Officials say they've made dozens of arrests in connection with Wedding's alleged drug operations. Prime Minister Mark Carney's cabinet spent the last 2 days setting their agenda for when Parliament resumes next week. There was a long list of topics to tackle, including artificial intelligence and Canada's rescinded invitation to the Gaza Board of Peace. But Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne says it's a domestic issue that's top of their list.
The most important one was around affordability. We're very, very conscious that Canadians are facing pressures when it comes to housing, when it comes to food.
Welcome to the October 20th edition of the Canadian Business Podcast. I'm Josephine Lim, online editor with Canadian Business Magazine. There's a school in Europe offering students a unique type of MBA, one specializing in economic warfare. The École de Guerre Économique, or a School of Economic Warfare in Paris.
Years old. Maybe 10 is a bit much, but
maybe it's a week old cake.
Maybe it's a week old, right? And so when you slice into it, nothing moves. There's no flowage there because it's 80% solid.
Now, if you took Yellowstone and injected a lot of heat somehow, if magma came up from below to heat up the whole system, it would be like putting your lava cake back in the oven.
That would melt that gooey center, and you'd be back to having your lava cake. That's maybe a good analogy for Yellowstone. And we haven't seen that rejuvenation event. We're dealing with a system that is, a couple-week-old lava cake.
And this couple of weeks old lava cake is just probably not going to end the world in a fiery nightmare of ash and lava. So this is why Mike is so prepared to allay people's concerns on this one. based on all the information that he and his fellow volcanologists have at their disposal, he really does think we can check death by a supervolcanic Yellowstone explosion off of our list of imminent apocalypse scenarios. But before you breathe too easily, there are still lots of other ways for Yellowstone to kill you.
RFK-Jr., HHS Secretary, recently announced new federal dietary guidelines declaring war.
Today, our government declares war on added sugar.
Also ending war.
We're ending the war on saturated fats.
In his tenure as head of HHS, RFK has ended the war on protein and declared war on ultra-processed foods and on the old food pyramid.
You can see the food pyramid here. It's upside down, a lot of you will say. But it was actually upside down before, and we just righted it.
The Trump administration has pushed companies to eliminate food dyes, and in the first bill signing of the new year, says schools can now serve whole milk.
Whole milk, and it's whole with a W for those of you that have a problem.
On Today Explained, the push from the top to revamp the American diet. Today Explained drops every weekday.
In the mid-1980s, Nintendo basically single-handedly saved the gaming industry with the Nintendo Entertainment System. And then a toy company convinced Nintendo that maybe the future of gaming wasn't controllers, but was instead this weird arm, sleeve, glove thing that let you control video games with your fingers. It was called the Power Glove, and it was awful. This week on Version History, a new chat show about old technology, we trace the whole story of the Power Glove, which failed spectacularly and also kind of invented VR. That's Version History, wherever you get podcasts.
This week on Net Worth and Chill, I'm breaking down the essential money tips for every stage of your relationship, from the first date to forever. Who actually pays on the first date? How do you split rent when you move in together if one of you makes way more than the other person? And yes, we need to talk about prenups. Plus, I'm sharing why I believe in equity over equality when it comes to splitting costs. Whether you're single and swiping, moving in with your partner, or planning your wedding, this episode will help you navigate the uncomfortable money conversations that can make or break your relationship. Listen wherever you get your podcasts or watch on youtube.com/yourrichbff.
You come barging in here asking me to contribute money to a volcano relief fund for Krakatoa. It was supposed to erupt!
In our conversation about Yellowstone, Mike told me, sure, a volcanic super eruption maybe does not need to keep us up at night. But that doesn't mean that Yellowstone is this totally benign place. There are other hazards that could happen in our lifetime that we might want to think about instead. Hazards like, for example,
strong earthquakes. The largest earthquake ever recorded in the Intermountain West was just a few miles west of Yellowstone National Park. It was a magnitude 7.3 in 1959. And it caused an entire mountainside to collapse.
Oh my God.
And that mountainside rushed through a campground at about midnight. And it killed a lot of people. Over 24 people died. It dammed a river. And it created a new lake. And the Army Corps of Engineers and some local folks had to get in there very, very fast and build a temporary spillway. Because if they hadn't done that, the debris dam could have failed catastrophically, and then you would have had a flood going down this river, up some towns downstream.
Oh my God.
That's pretty consequential.
So that's hazard number one.
The other one, a steam explosion like what we saw in July of 2024.
Wait, what is a steam explosion?
So you are dealing with at Yellowstone, a very poorly engineered pressure cooker or Instapot, or depends on your generation, I suppose, for which analogy you want to use. There is a lot of boiling water just beneath the surface. It is flowing through conduits that are constantly having minerals precipitate out into them, and so they're getting clogged, and pressure builds, and that it creates a condition where you can have water flashing to steam, and when that happens,